Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are committed to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. And I just want to give a shout out to the Black American farmers. This is a resilient group of men and women. They have been in the eye of the storm for the last 400 and something years. They have been tossed to and fro, up and down, and all around, trying to survive. But in all of that tossing around, up and down, and all around, they learned how to stand on their own 2 feet. They learned how to do for self. So shout out again to the Black American farmers. You are awesome. And the reason why Black farmers are special is because there has been a focused and concerted effort to keep them from succeeding. Ever since they left the sharecropping system where they were working just like they were slaves and white people were taking their money and pretending to be sharing on half, but the black people could never, ever break even with them because you always owe them something. They have been mad at black people since then, ever since slavery ended, Jim Crow ended, and they couldn't take advantage of our labor and take our money. They have been mad. So every effort has been made to keep black people from succeeding. Black farmers are the best farmers. They were the ones that were doing all the farming during the slave system and the Jim Crow system. And then when the Jim Crow system ended, they started giving land to white farmers who didn't know how to farm, giving them land, giving them all kinds of subsidies and loans and supplies and every benefit that they could give them to make the white farmers successful. But denying the black farmers the same benefits so that they would fail. They have not been able to benefit from any of the programs that the United States Department of Agriculture gave to farmers, white farmers. But yet they thrived and yet they survived. It's not as many of them now as there have been in the past because we know that in the 1920s, black Americans had 19 million acres of land. And now in 2025, it's about 3 million. So through thievery and swindling and the law of eminent domain taking black people's property, we have been robbed. And yet they are still standing. The black American farmers are still standing. So shout out and congratulations to these men who learn how to do for self and not depend on the government for a handout. So let's listen to this farmer.
So I'm a black farmer, and a lot of people are wondering why are black farmers not panicking like a lot of white farmers? Well, let me explain to you the reasons why. It's because white farmers have been handed everything to them, a lot of them. Not saying all of them, but a good bit of them. And by that I mean this. MLK even pointed out. He says, farmers in the West and the Midwest who were white, they were given land, they were given money, they were given training, they were given a lot. Whereas the black farmers weren't given anything, and the largest civil rights settlement in U.S. history is Pickford v. Glickman, where you had a class action lawsuit, bunch of black farmers all joined the lawsuit, and they won a huge settlement because the USDA was shown to be racist for decades. So because black farmers haven't been given anything, we've been learning to do without, unlike your white farmers. So when things are taken away from you, all your subsidies, all your tax breaks, guess what? You panic. Whereas we've always been going through this shit. So there's problems in privilege.
Did y'all get that? There's problems in privilege. And underneath it says it's the same effect as giving your kid everything and never making them earn it. When privileges are removed, the privileged will panic. So you see, giving them all these freebies didn't help them because they didn't learn how to make the sacrifices that needed to be made, to budget the way the budgeting needed to be made. And the fact of the matter is, the black farmers were the best farmers to start with because they were the ones that came off the plantation and the sharecropping system. So they knew how to farm, but the government would not support the ones who actually knew how to farm. Instead, they gave white people the land and then gave them all of the support and supplies that they needed to farm the land and make the farm successful. And now, look what happened. Look at what the Trump administration is doing. Since the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act in 2022, America's farmers, ranchers, foresters, and rural small businesses have been signing up in droves to receive funds by entering into formal contracts with the USDA. Rural residents in every state have benefited from the IRA through contracts to support conservation, efforts on working lands, and to improve energy efficiency and energy independence. These programs are designed to provide reimbursements where farmers take on the initial expense of any contracted project with the expectation that USDA will promptly reimburse them. However, the freeze on payments is preventing those timely reimbursements from happening. So, in other words, those farmers and ranchers and other people entered into a contract with the government. It's phony. They're going to improve energy and energy independence and all of that. And what they have to do is invest a little bit of money, and then the government is going to reimburse them in the form of probably much more money. Well, you know they're doing it for a benefit, otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it. So now, guess what happened to the money they're supposed to be getting? Donald Trump put a freeze on the money and they can't get the money. And those people voted for him thinking that he was going to not only continue the program, but no doubt thought he was going to expand it. But he put a freeze on it. So, by reneging on these promises, the USDA is not only cutting off vital resources, but also breaking commitments to farmers and rural communities that have acted in good faith and moved forward spending their hard earned money to honor their contractual obligations. The $20 million released on February 21 is only a drop in the bucket compared to the full extent of the financial support promised to America's farmers. So now they're whining because they're not getting that government money. They're not getting that government money that they were promised. And the black farmers didn't ever count on that money in the first place because they know that even if they get any, it's going to be so small that it's not going to make that much difference. So they had to learn how to do for self. And that's the takeaway. The black farmers learned how to do for themselves. They learned how to budget. They learned how to save. They learned how to conserve. They learned how to do all of that without any help from the United States government. And so sometimes it just goes to show what men mean for evil, God can still work it for good. Now, those black farmers are just like they're cruising, they're chilling because they weren't depending on that money in the first place. And that's a lesson to all of us. You need to learn how to do whatever your passion is or whatever your calling is. You need to learn how to do that to the best of your ability without depending on somebody else. And in the case of these farmers, I think they were encouraged to become farmers because at in high school when I went to the black school, we didn't have an ag teacher, but when I went to the so-called white school, there was a whole department set up for agriculture, teaching young white boys how to farm. So it appears to me that the whole agricultural department of the United States government was designed to teach white men how to farm and give them everything they needed to keep those farms up and to make those farms successful. But then you get a Donald Trump in office and he says you got to go for what you know. You got to go for yourself. And now they're whining and left holding the bag. But anyway, that's a great takeaway from those black farmers. Learn how to do it for yourself. And that way, nobody can take it away from you. Anything you need in life, you need to learn how to do it to the best of your ability because nobody can take it away from you. So, anyway, shout out again to the black farmers. Thank you for listening. Give me a thumbs up and have a great day.